This program brought to you by McDonald's Family Restaurants.
Hello everyone and welcome to another week of the AFL Wrap. I'm Jared Healy, welcome aboard. As you know, it's another major week of AFL footy. This week our match is the clash between Brisbane and Hawthorn. We find out what makes the man called Lethal tick, and we have all the action from the rest of round 13. Lee Matthews, or Lethal as he's known, is an official legend of the game. He's played a major part in the development of the two clubs that are our match of the day this afternoon. We're going to tell you all about Lethal at our halftime break. But before we get to what should be a great game, let's whet your appetite with some action like this. Roving, a beauty!
Bang, bang. Oh, Copeland! What a corner by the Blues! Completely shot to pieces.
Look out.
Hangs it through.
Oh, but there's the one-hander. Oh, the Corns boys have done it. Pick it off the ground. Pedro. What a sensational goal. Oh, classic tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Terrific handle.
And puts it home like the champion that he is.
This week's match comes from the Gabba in Brisbane between the Lions and Hawthorn. Brisbane are almost unstoppable at home, but so far this year have beaten only the winless Fremantle away from home. One of their victories this season was against the mighty Essendon. The Lions midfield is a driving force, led by skipper Michael Voss, Simon Black, Nigel Lappin and the Scott twins, all in peak form. The man finishing off their good work has been veteran forward Alistair Lynch. At the beginning of the round, he has 34 goals to his name and is equal second on the competition goal kickers list. The Hawks got 4 big names back last week for their heart-stopping win against the Kangaroos. Crawford, Chick and Holland will be better for the run. The loss of Barker will hurt, while Sean Wren still misses with a calf injury. The hero of last week's win was young star Jonathan Hay. The number 3 was brilliant in defence last week, and his last gasp tackle on David King saved the Hawks. Here are the highlights of a tight first quarter.
Good hands. Gee, that was a mark. Crode's kick looks good. That's a great goal. Centering ball to O'Farrell, got him.
They're bringing it into that middle corridor at every opportunity. From half-back and wing, they try to bring it into that middle corridor. Good tactics here at the Gabba.
Lekis like the kick off the boot. Thompson's got it. They were in the line, so Thompson from 45 metres. Kick looks good. Coming back, another goal. Voss rode the tackle on Smith well. Ackermanis back to Voss. Squeezy kick didn't go far. Crawford doing pretty well. Handball okay. Tallis little one up and play on. Chick belts it away. McDonald roving for a goal. A beauty.
He couldn't believe himself, the big fella, and he ran onto it all right, and he got boot the ball, Wolsey, and everything was travelling in the straight line.
Everything was perfect for him. He got the lovely bounce up and around about waist height, and he had 1 or 2 steps to get the kick in. He'll be saying, this is my night.
At quarter time, Hawthorn were 2 goals, 3 behinds 15 points, to Brisbane 1 goal, 3 behinds 9 points. 9 minutes have elapsed in the second quarter at the Gabba as we return to the action, and it's the Lions by 1 point.
Outside his distance, Ackermanis. He goes short. Good spot, yes.
Pretty poor defensive work by the Hawks, because Brisbane have had that ball on their 50-metre line for at least 40 seconds and they couldn't control or cover their opponent. So Peter Swab will be pretty disappointed about that.
Well, a change has been made by Hawthorn. Chick off the ground, obviously playing on Voss, and Piccioni now on.
Brisbane dominating the inside 50s in this quarter, 7-2. They've had most of the play, I would think, for the last 15-20 minutes.
Brad Scott should kick a goal. 35 metres out, he has. It's only 7 points, but the Hawks either need to change something or lift.
Well, they're just dried up in the midfield, and I think that's where you've hit on it, Bruce, and that's why Piccioni's on. Chick's had no real effect on the game. He's only had five kicks.
15-5, Derm, so I think Peter Schwab has to make a change there.
Well, Piccioni probably has the cleanest pair of hands off the ground in the Hawthorn team. So for him to come on, they might be able to win a little bit more of it in the middle, but at the moment, even in a low-scoring game, it's one-way traffic.
There's Chick. So best and fairest with Holland last year.
And Brisbane dominating the centre clearances.
And look like they might get another one here. Voss 16th possession, and we're 10 minutes into the second quarter. Out wide, Notting's been good. They're on top of here, the Lions have kicked the last 3 goals. They're squeezing the Hawks hard to Notting.
Gee, that's good play by Sean Hart. Again, just weighted the ball to a teammate forward of the play, as Voss did before. And with the rain drying up, the skills are coming out.
Bradshaw the target. Thompson did well to cut across in front. Handball out wide. Now Crawford, who's played very well. Not quite as well as Voss, but he's had a good match just the same. And his kick out wide found a target, and it's Clark at half-back.
You just wonder how long Voss can go playing in the midfield. He's been in the midfield for the entire game so far.
Crawford's had 13, so he's not far behind him as he finds Rawlings. Piccioni we see.
Yeah, and Voss has just completely ignored Piccioni, his opponent.
Rawlings to centre wing.
Well, that's a good stretch.
That was Harford. Was paid. Brad Scott at the back, stretching as far as Harford, but he couldn't quite. The cut off. Poor kick by Harford. Cut off by Lappin. Lappin went to ground. Gets it back to Chris Scott. Goes back. Or Brad Scott goes back to Voss again to Black. Black also has had a fair bit of the footy.
And Piccioni's starting the rough stuff on Vossi now. He's just trying to.
I think it's the other way around, Robert. He's just lining him up, Voss. He's to get out of him away.
Kick to centre wing. And Rawlings and also Brown.
We'll see what Piccioni does it there. Voss has just put him down again. So we'll have a look at these two. There's a fair bit of niggle going on. A young fella against one of the absolute champions.
Just a reminder about our internet site, i7sport.com.au. What a weekend of AFL footy. We've got terrific round 13 and big sport everywhere. So log on. Ackermanis to Voss. Voss at 50 metres, centering kick across the face. This will suit Hay, you'd reckon, against Lynch. Lynch did very, very well. McRae blazes and misses a lot.
Well, that is the formula, isn't it? Lynch contest, Crum goes to ground, and McRae seizes on it and gets a shot at goal.
Great effort by Alistair Lynch to lock that ball into the forward line.
Nichols on, Lord off.
Don't see Hay beaten in a run to the ball like that too often, do you?
He did well, Lynchy. He knew that he had to make a final effort at it, just to dive at it and hold it in, because the longer he kept on his feet running with it, the more it was going to suit Hay. Lord went to ground on the chase on Ackermanis. That's why he's off.
Michael doing well. A big thump away. Back to McRae. That's a lot better kick. Centres to about 10 metres out. Hay front spot. Hart hooks it back high. Won't be a score. The Hawks will try and get a thump on it. Black getting in there. Notting. Hawthorn getting back and forcing it through. We showed you that stat in the last 15 metres of their defensive zone, how good the Hawks are. They've stood up here tonight. The rain coming down, Dipper, is it?
Certainly is, and I'm going for shelter.
Tell us, Dipper, Matty Campbell, is he still about, or is he...
Yeah, Matty's all right. Say hello to the folks, Matty.
Good evening, Bruce. Not feeling 100% down here, but it is raining. But it's a good night.
Good to hear from you, Matty. We do know that you're alive and not well, but you're alive. Short. Very short to Hay.
And the crowd going for their life.
Kicks to half-back. Oh, does Thompson hurt himself? Boundary. Bet Matty Campbell would love this. He's on the boundary line for the first time this year, feeling rotten, and suddenly... We won't hear from Matty again. He's gone for the night.
He played plenty of tricks on me when I coached him, so I don't mind the rain.
Half forward right. Lions doing all the attacking. Free kick to McDonald. He's done well, McDonald. Keating still sitting it out. Lappin takes it from McDonald. Kicks to centre half forward. Bradshaw! What a mark! What a mark by Bradshaw!
Oh, and McRae and Graham are just having a bit of a how do you do. McRae's gone to ground.
That was spectacular. 2 grabs surely, but only man to touch the footy. Bang, bang.
Came from a long way back, didn't he? A long jump through the air.
50 metres out. Good looking kick.
Big thump.
Looks home. Got it.
It's late in the second term as we go back to the action, and Brisbane now lead by 27 points.
Against the flow, Brisbane with numbers, they have to get it out. Johnson did get it out. It was well done to Black. Black's handball to Lappin. Lappin gets wide to Bolton. Bolton straightens the body, well done. Kicks to centre half forward. Bradshaw, Brown front spot. McRae roving brilliantly and running in and kicking another one.
That is a perfect Rovers goal.
And if anyone's going to kick one of those, Derm, it's this young fella. He is just an absolute gun player. He's been plagued with injuries for the last 2 or 3 years, but by gee, he's got some talent.
He's as good as roving the ball off the hands of the pack in the direction of his team as anyone I've seen play the game. He reads the ball coming over his shoulder in the goal direction as good as anyone ever.
Gee, he ran straight off the ground after the goal. Not a bad way to go to the interchange bench, is it? Last 7 goals to the Lions. Crowds really built up here, and they are cheering their team. Dixon coughs it up to Copeland. Pretty strong effort, I felt, down back there by Vandenberg for a mark.
Just what Hawthorn didn't want. 2 goals in the last couple of minutes to Brisbane in this second quarter.
7 goals to 2 here.
He's not great by foot, Richie Vandenberg, and that just found the target, although that's all you have to do. Now they've just seized up. Now Brisbane have got the running game back now, and they're still trying to draw Brisbane up. Lacus on the end of that one.
From Bateman. So Bateman's now going to the interchange.
Just reckon there are times you've just got to kick it long. You just got to make it a contest.
Holland worked really hard for that one, but he's a long way from home, isn't he, centre wing?
Well, they've taken it from back flank to opposite wing. Spent about 80 seconds doing it.
Gained about 25 metres, Wolsey.
Yeah.
Graham couldn't take the mark. Bolton got it from McManus back to Holland. So second go. Now he's got Clark on really short. He has to go to him. Does. Clark. Now can he take Ashcroft on with pace? No, he won't. Goes short again. Harford. They've got it about 40 metres from Holland's kick now. They've worked hard. So if you plot where Bateman was about 2 minutes ago, again, it didn't happen. Thompson back to Harford. Back to Clark, must use Thompson, does. Here's a chance. Thompson gets to 60 metres. Terrible kick, floating kick to centre half forward. Comes off Black. Brisbane have got numbers. Barlow won't be able to shrug them off, ball in. Well, not fancy going forward, the Hawks, are they?
Just seized up, hasn't it? I mean, Brisbane control the midfield so much. There's no room for any running players. It needs a Crawford or Harford or someone like that to run through the lines on a link handball.
Smith went to ground.
Free kick.
Oh, he got a free kick, did he? Advantage to Crawford. Crawford's kick. Is it there? I think it's a goal. The captain's kicked a goal.
Clever play. Clever play by Crawford. Recognised that if he played on from there, and he probably kicked the ball from side on to where the man on the mark would have been standing. And the ball still only carried the line by maybe 1 metre. Right, there's the mark there, about 10 inside 50. He's kicked it further out, but I tell you what, when the set shot came in from that mark, where the man on the mark was, he probably would have kicked it from further. So clever play by Crawford.
Dixon again in at the centre bounce. He's been in for the last 3, got a handball out at the last one. So I think that's good coaching because he was struggling at half forward, just not much ball coming to him.
Keating will want to come down behind him on this one. There's Scotty, and oh, tell you what.
Chris Scott has put a player down behind
and he's getting reported too. I think the book's coming out.
That was
well, we're on half time here. This is a big play because Crawford's kicked a goal with 12 seconds to go. Now we're on half time and he might kick a second one.
There's certainly been a report,
and there'll be 50 metres after report, isn't there?
Well,
it used to be. I don't know if that still exists.
I think,
does it?
Brian?
No.
He won't let him report.
I think he's come out. It is 50. It is 50.
Right.
So Shane Crawford is going to kick 2 goals in the last 15 seconds of this first half.
Bruce, there's been 2 reports. Chris Johnson's also been reported by umpire Brian Sheen. So 2 reports there from the line. So I expect the ball to go closer into goal here.
Well, the free kick initially was for Chris Scott putting Crawford down, and then the 50-metre penalty, I suggest, would have been for some abuse towards the umpire.
Look at the time clock. 12 seconds to go. Crawford's kicked a goal a moment ago. Went back into the centre. Brisbane are completely dominated. Lee Matthews would be absolutely ropeable with this.
And the ball's going down towards the goal square.
Got to say that one. There is... Look, there's a time when you can get a short-term loss for a long-term gain, but there's no gain in that whatsoever by Scott.
Lee Matthews absolutely filthy, because they had a match-winning lead, and in the space of 60 seconds they'll kick 2 goals. The Brisbane players just need to settle down.
And they've also got some emotion back into the Hawthorn team, haven't they? I mean, Hawthorn are going to come off the ground feeling a lot better than they were a minute ago, and also they're going to come off the ground pretty angry.
Well, they come off the ground 21 points down, and they really were a 10-goal beaten team.
Lee's on his way. He's seen enough.
Oh, he threw the book then, Lee.
He's seen enough. Crawford kicks his second. He's had a pretty good first half, Crawford.
And they're still at it.
Players get around him now. I reckon the runner will be out there, and I reckon Scott will have to come straight off.
Well, 7 goals to 2. You're just about dead, aren't you, in the water?
Only thing I'd say to him, but who's going to make the moves, because the coach is gone.
It's the same players, Scott and Johnson. I mean, you know.
He might have just made it before he threw the book. Watch this.
Here we are. Just a bit of push and shove while they're in there at the centre bounce. And that's probably gone too far.
And that's... that would have been opened up and had a look at well and truly if it didn't get reported on the spot.
Still plenty going on here.
Brother Scott have had a good night. One's got his number in the book, though. Harford, he's given a bit of verbals.
Well, what a change in the last half a minute of this opening half. It'll be pretty interesting to see these two teams come off the ground in a moment, because the siren will sound. Black's unable to get it out. It is half-time.
Well, the game swung around, Bruce, when Bradshaw got that easy goal off an infringement away from play. And now we see a mini swing again as Scott has given an infringement off the ball.
He's trying to explain to the umpire what happened.
Boys, Lethal Lee has just asked Voss to go in and talk to his players. It is ropeable, Lethal.
Yep.
So he's asked Vossi to go and have a chat to them.
Yeah, and Vossi's come off the bench to do that, so just keep an eye on Vossi here, boys.
Well, they've given up what could have been a match-winning lead. I mean, who knows what will happen in the second half. There's Lee. We're getting a good view of him now. Voss taking some charge.
He's calling him off. He's saying, just get off the ground. Look, he is furious.
This is a case where the two teams come off the ground very close together. They've had a real go at one another. Now, Lee, I think, is he trying to get his players away from this?
He just wants to get his boys in so he can have a word with them.
I think he wants to have a word to Chris Scott too.
I think Scotty's gone to him to apologise, and there would be anger there.
Vossi's having a go at the umpires. He's asking the question, what's going on? He's amongst 5 umpires here.
And Darryl White's with him, which is pretty unusual.
I think Lee Matthews would be disappointed that they lost their cool and gave away the 50-metre penalty. The free kick against Chris Scott really wasn't acceptable, but then the 50-metre was just terrible.
Gee, normally it's only the captain that talks to the umpires, isn't it, in the break?
Very demonstrative there.
So Darryl White.
After a fiery finish to the first half, the Lions led at half-time by 21 points. The scores: Brisbane 7 goals, 8 behinds, 50 points. To Hawthorn 4 goals, 5 behinds, 29 points.
Lee Matthews is one of the biggest names in the game, either as player or coach. As a player, he was feared. 8 times he won the Hawthorn Best and Fairest. As a coach, he led Collingwood from the Premiership wilderness, and today he's in charge of the Brisbane Lions. His story, in his words, is our halftime break.
Lee Matthews' amazing career began in 1969 as a 17-year-old and continued through 332 games and 17 seasons. He's an official legend of league football. Matthews is in his 13th year as a senior coach, which included leading Collingwood to the 1990 Premiership. But it was as a player that the legend was born.
I can never remember when I wasn't involved in footy, to be honest. One of my really early childhood memories is my dad doing the stab kick with the old big round football and me marking it on the chest, and I can almost still feel the thud of the ball on the chest. I mean, that's almost the earliest memory of my life. To me, it was almost the most important thing, and you know, therefore, whatever price you had to pay in terms of discomfort on the field and being ruthless, I suppose, you know, winning and performing well was, I suppose, override my morality, if I could even put it that way. I mean, I used to feel terribly guilty about some of the things I used to do in the field on the spur of the moment. I mean, I had a fairly severe hunger play and to be better. And so, I mean, it was really only the start for me, I think. I don't really felt it was a pinnacle of a career at an early age. It was just a step along the way, I think. I always felt I was fairly much in the here and now in all my time in football. I mean, I kind of thought, well, you know, you wanted to make each season a little bit better than the last one. As I said, when I was young, I didn't feel fear. It just never crossed my mind. As I got older, I knew that, you know, those situations when you had to back into attack or the more dangerous parts. I wasn't as gung-ho in my later years, I'm sure, as I was when I was young.
Once he went over that wide line, I don't think there was anybody fiercer than him in his efforts to try and win, and particularly when I was there, he was captain of the side. And I suppose leading into the 1983 final series, he really became a leader on that particular day.
And I think I said it to our team before the 1983 grand final as we were gathering to go onto the field. And it just occurred to me, I said, don't feel nervous, this is our thing, we're born to do this. You know? We're born to go out there and perform this game in front of all these people. That's what all of us do better than anything else in our lives, probably. But I think as a coach, the only thing you've got as a coach is the team performance. You've got nothing else. I mean, that's all you've got. The moment about the 26-minute mark of the 1990 grand final, when I accepted in my own mind that we were going to win, was my greatest thrill in football.
Matthews is now coach of the league's northernmost team, the Brisbane Lions. It is desperate to extend the legend into yet another premiership triumph. 3 minutes have elapsed as we return to the Gabba.
Tackle him whenever we can, fall on him whenever we can, make it hard.
i7sport.com.au will bring you up to date with any injuries, the reports tonight, and the ladder after tonight's matches and previews of the weekend. Here's Crawford. Looked to throw. We were right in front of him. He's in pain, Crawford. He's in real trouble here.
Yeah, well, they brought him down again, and he's holding that leg, so he is in difficulty. I think he'll have to come off.
He's played well. He's had 12 kicks, 8 handballs, and kicked a couple of goals, all from that one play. Yeah, he's gone.
Daniel Chick desperately waving to the bench, saying, you've got to get him off. He's hurt his leg.
So that's rotten luck for the captain. They have
Barry Gavin.
Let's go back to the first incident when
watch the left leg. There it is, that one there. Just clipped out under him.
Smith round the body. Crawford basically is a spectator now. I think it'll only be moments before he goes off. Harford, well done, Chris Johnson, having a terrific night. Ashcroft's hands were good. Hart, who's Crawford's man, he'll run off him now, knowing that Crawford's in trouble. Tallis and McRae, they've had a couple of good battles in this quarter. McRae kicked a beautiful roving goal. Lovely hands, Bolton. Ackermanis will go all the way. No, centres, probably the team thing to go. Bradshaw got it. He has got it on a string at the moment. Crowd saying I touched it, but the umpire saying no.
Yeah, even if you do touch those, the umpire will pay the pack mark.
Crawford on his way off the ground.
Yeah, he had to go off that first time.
Now, Robert Wars, you're involved with Jason Ackermanis. There's a front page of the AFL footy record that says the second coming of Ackermanis. He's just been brilliant, hasn't he? Just been terrific, Dipper. And so's this fella who's put another one through. You know, he's been with the Lions for 6 years and has only played 60-odd games. So he's had to work really hard to get a regular game of football.
I would have thought 3, maybe 4, but 6 years too. Well, they're just dominant in the middle still. Ackermanis playing as a half-forward flanker and slipping into the middle as well. Got the ball across on that kick through. So Shane Crawford off the ground for Hawthorn and seems to have re-damaged that left knee in the tackle by Sean Hart.
Brisbane have kicked 10 of the last 13 goals here and have doubled the score at 70-35. Chick, Paccioni, boundary throw in.
Dermot, Hawthorn have used Joel Smith in at every centre bounce in this third quarter now. I would imagine that's most unusual.
Yeah, no, Joel's picking up, sorry, Dermot, Joel's picking up Ackermanis here, and it's just having a tough time of it.
McDonald over the top of Thompson. And both these teams were on 111% going in percentage-wise, so the Hawthorn percentage is modest considering they've won 9 out of 12. Look at the inside 50s. Absolutely dominating Brisbane after quarter time. Remember how well Hawthorn were going early here. So Keating and O'Farrell. Haven't seen much of either of them been on the interchange. Clark is pushing forward. He might get a second crack here. He's a good runner, though. Brad Scott gets back. Clark gets a tackle. Well done, Harford. Clark to Vandenberg to Dixon on his right foot. Straight to Johnson.
Yeah, they've only had one scoring shot in 17 minutes in this third term.
Back to his brother, back to Chris Scott, I should say. Pachoni puts the tackle on Brad Scott. Here's Dixon again on his right foot. That's better to Lord. It was touched on the way through. I think it was touched on the way through. Ball up. I reckon that's what the umpire calls.
And Chrissy Johnson gave the old jump, grab of the jumper, and the push-pull with the fist he made on it. Well disguised. Well done.
Was it touched or did he play?
I think he played on.
I think he played on.
Yep, you're right. So he just turned. Keating. Ashcroft, ridden into the ground. Voss, brilliant. Gets it back to Black, to Chris Scott. Wants the boundary line. Pachoni, normally pretty good off the boot. Centering. Graham, White, brilliant. Made a wonderful contest. Graham slick handball. O'Farrell not probably the best person to make work like that, but he did all right. Back to Tallis. Tallis squeezes it. Finds a target in Leckers. They're a long way from home, though.
Holland.
Leckers, here's a chance. Holland. Chick gets in his road. Clark off the ground. Goes back to Lord. Lord blazes and kicks a second, third quarter goal.
Well, it was ugly, Wallsy, but it's the first time that Hawthorn have been able to kick what I'd call an occupation goal by holding the ball in there.
Well, you call it ugly, but at least they moved the ball on a little bit quicker than they have been. And you just can't pinpoint the passes on every occasion. At times, you've just got to get it in there quickly. And as you and I both know, as old forwards, you love it when it comes in quick.
And Hawthorn post another, and Brett O'Farrell goes into the centre of the ground. Keating probably will out-jump him here. Now, O'Farrell will try and jump a little bit early and nullify the bounce, but Ackermanis and Voss have just been supreme at taking the ball away tonight.
10-10 to 6-5. So Lord's kicked a couple in this third term. Leckers.
That is muddy.
Sounds ridiculous, but the Hawks could get the next one. Give them a bit of heart here. They're hanging in, aren't they?
They are. And handballs. Let's have a look at that. Hawks have just dropped away from that first quarter when they had plenty of the play. And that's fairly typical of the way they've played this year. Strong first halves, then fade away.
Brisbane are #1 in the comp in handballs this season. So Hawthorn probably matching them tonight in that area. Hard off the ground. Good kick in the end. Gets it to 50. And then McRae off the ground. Brown was brilliant. Bad handball, though, to Voss. Lappin able to get through. Arches his back. Seizes the moment. Goes for goal and puts it home.
At three-quarter time, Brisbane's lead had blown out to 39 points. With the scores, 12 goals, 14 behinds, 86 points, to Hawthorn, 7 goals, 5 behinds, 47 points. Here are some last quarter highlights.
Can't get it out, the Hawks. Harford, Brisbane all over it. And then Voss got a high tackle. Got it to Black. Black for goal. I think he's got it. What a team effort. So Brown to the goal square. Oh, Copeland. Is it Copeland?
Yep. He's moved all right, this kid. I've been impressed with the way he's run at the ball.
Great mark. Smith misses the target. Chick and Rawlings knock each other out. Could anything worse happen to the Hawks? They're both flattened. Look at this. Going hard.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
They're never wrong.
Gee, what about that with Bradshaw?
Ackermanis goal. I don't know.
There's party tricks now.
In the end, the Lions crushed Hawthorn by a massive 87 points. Kicking 20 goals, 20 behinds, 140 points. The Hawks 8 goals, 5 behinds, 53 points. Hawthorn crashing to their 4th loss in 5 matches. Daniel Bradshaw returned to form with 5 goals and Alistair Lynch booted 3. Chris Scott and Chris Johnson's reports are a worry for the Lions. The Hawks' injury list has a familiar look to it, with Chick and Crawford again in the wars.
We sort of gave them a sniff when they got a couple of goals in the last 15 seconds of the second quarter, so it was important that we kept our heads at half-time, and in the third quarter we were ready to go out and, you know, take control of the game, and because they were probably a little bit encouraged by what happened in the last 30 seconds.
Oh, it's just one of those games. You just think, look, all I'm going to do is only address it as a one-off situation, and I'm not even going to try and analyse it, to be truthful.
At Optus Oval on Saturday, Carlton faced the Western Bulldogs, and it was the Blues that came out full of running early to lead at the first break by 6 goals.
He should kick a goal from there. No problems at all for Freeborn. Steers it towards goal, and the Blues have got 5.
Many expected a Bulldog comeback in the second quarter, but it was Carlton who continued to dominate. And at half-time, they were ahead of the shell-shocked Dogs by 65 points.
Players running everywhere. Lappin decides to go alone. Lappin will kick a goal. It'll bounce, and bounce through. They are on fire on this.
The Bulldogs pressed forward in the third quarter in a desperate effort to narrow the margin and stay in the game. The margin was still 53 points at the final change.
Himself there, couldn't take it. Some loose, sloppy defence there from the Blues. They should pay the price. West's good in these situations. The Dogs just keep on coming.
The Dogs made a last-ditch effort to reel in Carlton and narrowed the gap to 27 points.
And the youngster, Gene Syracuse, should finish it off with a goal. Another one, 2 in 2 minutes to the Bulldogs.
But the Blues steadied again and then kicked away in the last term to run out convincing 61-point winners. Carlton, 23 goals, 15 behinds, 153 points. For the Western Bulldogs, 13 goals, 14 behinds, 92 points. For the winners, Trent Hotton booted 4 goals. Across town at Colonial Stadium, top of the ladder Essendon took on the winless Fremantle in a match many thought would be a whitewash. But they forgot to tell Freo as they marched to a 14-point quarter-time lead.
It was Brown. Waterhouse backs away, kicks a goal.
The expected Essendon reply came, but Freo were brave in the face of the onslaught. But the Bombers were able to hit the front by half-time by 2 goals.
The big fist didn't make contact. McVeigh does and kicks a goal.
With 3 stars back in the lineup and more to come in the next few weeks, the Bombers started to take control in the third term and led by 26 points at the final break.
The target, Carl's got to make it a contest. Barnard with strength keeps the ball alive. Chance for Matthew Lloyd. He never misses.
Fremantle's brave fight was snuffed out in the final quarter by the professional Essendon outfit. But Freo lost no friends for their committed effort to go down to the reigning premiers by 46 points. Essendon, 18 goals, 10 behinds, 118 points. To Fremantle, 10 goals, 12 behinds, 72 points. James Hird is expected to miss next week's clash with the Bulldogs with a groin injury. The Kangaroos once again headed out of town for their home match against Port Adelaide, this time to Manuka Oval in Canberra. By quarter time, they held a 6-point lead.
Well, this one bound away from Primus, and Simpson gets the goal.
In the second quarter, the Kangaroos made themselves at home, booting 4 goals.
Still in play. Pick it off the ground. Has kicked the goal.
But couldn't quite shake off a determined Power. The Roos up at half-time by 3 goals. If the Power thought they had a chance to come back and win, those thoughts were extinguished in the third quarter as the Kangaroos added 5 goals to 1 to take a 41-point advantage into the last break.
Grant still there with the left foot. Oh, don't tell me he's kicked that. What a sensational goal by Shannon Grant. He's inside 50. He bends it back. It's a good-looking kick towards Carey. Couldn't take the mark. Makepeace kicks the goal.
Port Adelaide's final quarter was full of character as they booted 5 goals. But the deficit was too large, and in the end, the Kangaroos ran out 22-point winners, booting 14 goals, 11 behinds, 95 points. Port Adelaide, 10 goals, 13 behinds, 73 points. At Football Park on Saturday night, Adelaide were at home to Collingwood. The Pies had Buckley back, and at quarter time they held a 7-point lead.
Still with Fraser, back to Aubrey. Aubrey between half-forward and centre wing, good kick to Tarrant, dropped the mark. We haven't seen him do that for a long time. Back to Hart, Hart sweeps it to Marsh. Marsh's little give not good. Bickley under the pump. Fraser sweeps a handball. Malloy sits and waits. Terrific handball. McKee, left foot, a chance. I think it's home. It's a goal.
Darren Jarman starring up forward, Adelaide booted 7 goals in the second term.
Back and had a shot. He nearly kicked this. He's pumped it all the way, and it's a goal! Magnificent kick!
While the Magpies added 5.
And Ben Hart, gathered by Davis. Electrifying speed by Leon Davis. Kicks across his left shoulder, and the goal of the night so far to Leon Davis for the Magpies.
That awkward kicking style to full forward. Stevens there. Rashudo. Still Rashudo. A chance for Jarman to go. He's got 4. He's got 4.
3.5 minutes left in the term. Magpies would do well if they could hold the Adelaide Crows up. They may not. Rashudo. Flying shot at goal. Good distance. Accuracy. Goal Adelaide.
The Crows up by 4 points at half-time. What had become a dour battle, Collingwood had edged ahead of the Crows in the final change to take a 5-point advantage into the final quarter.
Luxuria with a bit of fancy footy and an interesting kick to Malloy. Waitland's pace, impressive here, but he overran it. Malloy, brilliantly picked up. Terrific stuff. Lovely kick to Tarrant. Wonderful football. Goal. Oh, that's magnificent. How good was Jared Malloy in all of that?
Both teams had opportunities to tie the game up, but it was Adelaide's inaccuracy that cost them dearly. In the end, the Magpies ran out 2-point winners. The scores: Collingwood 15 goals, 9 behinds, 99 points, to Adelaide 14 goals, 13 behinds, 97 points. For the Crows, Jarman was outstanding with 6 goals. At Colonial Stadium on Sunday, St Kilda hosted Richmond, and the lowly Saints took it right up to the Tigers, kicking the first 4 goals before Richmond scored and held a 3-goal quarter-time advantage.
There comes Hall. Good mark. He's a quality player, Barry Hall. 37 in total last year. Important kick, this one. He's off on the right foot. Goal.
The Tigers slowly worked their way back into the game in the second quarter. Then the nature of the match changed completely, with Richmond kicking 5 goals in the last 15 minutes to take a 17-point lead into half-time.
Goes through the centre, kicks down towards half-forward, intended for the man on the lead down there. That was Holland, spilled off his chest. Geary couldn't control it. Holland's got it, spots Richardson. Richardson runs back, lobs it over the top in the goal square. Campbell turns round, kicks the goal.
In the third term, St Kilda were desperate not to let the Tigers get too far ahead, and they booted 3 goals. But the Tigers were able to shrug off the persistent Saints and lead by 26 points at three-quarter time.
It down towards the 50. Bowden outside him. I would have gone to Bowden. The hand pass is a shocker. But Bowden this time, can he make amends? Too easy. Runs around his Saint and slots it from 25.
In the last quarter, the Tigers played like a good team to bury the gallant Saints to run away to a solid 39-point victory.
But he's got one, that's right.
Kicking 19 goals, 12 behinds, 126 points, to St Kilda 13 goals, 9 behinds, 87 points, to win 4 on end. Joel Bowden with 5 goals was best on ground. Up in Sydney, the Swans and Geelong faced off in a must-win game for both clubs, and it was a tight first term.
McGrath did it well. Brilliant. To Harley. The Cats have taken the ball from full-back, just running the ball in, and Kingsley should kick a goal 45 metres out.
The Swans, thanks to a clever Paul Williams goal, led at quarter time by 4 points.
Oh, it's not over yet. Williams is going to kick a goal. Williams has kicked the goal.
It was a tough and rugged second quarter as the Swans tried to take a hold on the Cats, but Geelong made a break and were able to have their noses in front at half-time by 3 points.
From 55 metres out. Starts to bring it back. It's a magnificent kick. Straight through the centre.
Cats needed to win this match to catch up with the group fighting for the lower places in the 8th. And they booted 5 third-quarter goals to take a 27-point advantage into the last term. Sydney made a big move early in the last quarter to narrow the margin to 7 points.
Badly need a goal. Goods starts to bring it back. He's got it.
But the Cats steadied again to run out 19-point winners.
Briggs sends the Cats forward, in towards full forward. They need a mark. Grizzle, Grizzle has done it. Just to make the margin 13 points. Grizzle from 20 metres doesn't miss.
The scores: Geelong 12 goals, 12 behind, 84 points, to Sydney 9 goals, 11 behind, 65 points. In an important match for Melbourne, they travelled to Perth to play West Coast. After a competitive first quarter, it was the Demons up by a goal at quarter time.
He went up to spoil. Green went off the ground. What a cross! Sensational work by Green. We know he was a soccer player, and there's Robertson.
The Eagles were playing their best football for many weeks as they took the game right up to the Demons in the second quarter. And the game was in the balance with the Eagles ahead by 5 points at the long break.
Gaspar, quick kick. Great kick. The Eagles are in front.
In the end, the Eagles' better spread of players were able to hold off the Demons to record a desperately needed victory. The injury to Chad Morrison must be a bitter blow to the embattled Eagles. So Essendon find themselves 2 games clear in first place, and Carlton now hold second spot. Richmond are third and Hawthorn are fourth. Collingwood, Brisbane and Port Adelaide who drop 3 places, and then the Bulldogs make up the 8th. There are then 4 teams all on 6 wins just outside the top 8. Then comes Melbourne, St Kilda, West Coast and the winless Fremantle in 16th spot.
Well, I'll back him because I think he's just a magnificent kick of the football. He just leans back and see you later. It's a goal. 6 to Darren Jarman. Have a look at this. Go to the rooms. Pumped up like this.
Adelaide veteran Darren Jarman was the leading goal kicker this round with his 6 against Collingwood. Matthew Lloyd kicked 5 against Fremantle to take his tally to 55 for the season, but is on target for another century. Alistair Lynch has 37, followed by Collingwood's Chris Tarrant. Gavin Wanganeen and Paul Hudson have 29, and Matthew Richardson has 28.
Johnson in defence made a mistake to allow the Blues to get their first goal.
So Manson's kick. Ellis, hit the ride and judged it beautifully.
He looks down the ground, kicks long, high, into the pocket. Tarrant and Ben Hart, gathered by Davis. Electrifying speed by Leon Davis. Kicks across his left shoulder. And the goal of the night so far to Leon Davis for the Magpies. They move up here in 82 as Spriggs sends the Cats forward in towards Woolford. They need a mark. Bizzle has done it.
You can see him coming a mile away, Clint Bizzle. McIntosh leader in the pocket. He goes longer. Cummings coming out. Needs to spoil. No hanging on, free kick, and that a chance to pounce. And that's what he does best, Matera. Kicks the second.
That was good, wasn't it, Scotty, by Bill Matera then?
Gets it deep. Crofton amongst it all. Koutoufides, Hickmont around the body. Look at them. Houlihan. And Whitnell in support. Houlihan reckons he can engineer a goal himself. He knows where they are, and he knows how to get it through them.
In front of Paxwell. John Blakey now, up towards the left half forward. Up towards the...
Yes.
Fly by Bishop.
Matthew Bishop, didn't he just rise atop of it? Again, it was a great leap. He landed on their shoulders. He didn't have to get lifted up. That is a very athletic leap.
McCartney gives him assistance. The boy from Nil. Off he goes to Blakey. Johnny Blakey with a couple of ounces. Puts them deep in their attacking zone. Where's Sav and the crew there? McKernan is there. And that is what they were asking at quarter time.
You can see it just prop and cop, chip the footy around.
And danger here, look, cut off. Chris Johnson strolls in now from 40 metres out and kicks the goal. Static football, and they paid the ultimate price.
How tight it is. McKernan cleverly round the body in towards Woolford. Shannon Grant, if he gets clear, look out, he's a left footer. Grant still there with the left foot. Oh, don't tell me he's kicked that. What a sensational goal by Shannon Grant.
Stephen King out injured. Fosdyke. It's always handy when he comes off the bench. He can be a dangerous player. Maxfield hits it hard. Runs hard, runs to 50 and starts to close. 25, 30 and kicks a goal. Super play.
Well, another great bunch of highlights in our top 10, and it's going to be interesting to find out which of the weekly highlights we bring you will end up in our season-ending top 10 marks and top 10 goals. So that brings us to the end of another program. But don't forget, if you need your footy fix, you know where to go. Head to the internet at www.afl.com.au. Until next week, hope your side's winning. Bye for now.
This program brought to you by McDonald's Family Restaurants.